Hi everyone, meteorologist Chad Evans here with a Saturday edition of your daily weather forecast video, sponsored always by Trent Johnson State Farm. TrentIsMyAgent.com. Bitterly cold morning. Low temperatures as low as 8 below zero. 8 below Roselawn, Morocco. 7 below Kentland. 6 below Round Grove and Fowler. We got to 4 below at Flora. And 2 below zero at Thorntown. Even down at Cayuga it was 2 below zero. And 6 below zero at Rochester. And even now, skies are kind of grayish. The sun trying to be a faint glowing ball and shine through, but kind of a milky overcast around. My mom always called this a snowy looking sky when it's just this featureless overcast. And normally when you see that featureless overcast, it's indicating Virga. The sky looks washed out. The snow's trying to fall, drying up on the way down. That's exactly what we have out there. We're at 7 at Logansport with a wind chill of 6 below zero. Wind chill's 11 below zero at Rochester and Kentland. Feels like 12 below zero right now at Fowler with 5. And it's 8 at Thorntown. The Purdue Airport has 6 with a wind chill of 7 below zero. It's going to take some time. As expected, we've got to overcome dry air. We've got one wave of snow that comes through this evening and tonight, and we're kind of fair game for snow, I would say, for much of the area after 6 p.m. But again, it will take time for the snow to get northward. This first wave will have holes in it because it's trying to overcome dry air and saturate things. But we'll eventually get snow down to the ground, and this first wave will be a little bit lighter than the second wave. The second wave is really Sunday. It's Sunday morning and right to early Sunday afternoon. And then a third wave will come through as a bit of a lake effect band and what I call a northern trough. I'll explain what that is coming up here in a second. The snow will be dry and powdery. Now at the end it may be a little fluffy, especially that little band that we get Sunday evening, Sunday night. So it's going to blow around quite a bit, even though winds are not going to be 40 or 50 or anything like that, but they'll still be running about 26 to about 32 miles an hour, which that's going to blow snow around, especially this kind of snow. And then we've got a second Arctic blast coming in, significant cold air coming in late next week to the following weekend. So we got to get through the current cold, a reinforcing shot of cold around Monday. And then you got a big shot coming in late week and into next weekend, and we got to watch for more snow ahead too. What's impressive about this winter storm is the extent of its impact. A lot of ice storm warnings. Metro Atlanta, Greenville, Columbia, Charlotte, all the way back to Knoxville, Tennessee, and then from Oxford, Mississippi to Baton Rouge and East Texas, big thicket area, all under ice storm warnings and significant damaging icing here. And you've got winter storm warnings from northern Vermont and even alerts up into Quebec from Environment Canada, all the way back to New Mexico and southern Colorado. So far and wide-reaching effects, very moisture rich, a lot of lift, a lot of dynamics with this winter system. Again, typical phasing system with a lot of widespread precipitation, and we're in on that. We've got the winter storm warning that is up for Tippecanoe, Carroll, Clinton, Howard, Tipton, Boone, Fountain, Vermilion, Park, Montgomery, Warren, and Cass and Miami are included. And then you got the winter weather advisory for Benton, White, Fulton, Pulaski, Jasper, and Newton counties. There's the storm still evolving here. The snow, the sleet, the freezing rain down here, and yes, even some severe weather in the deep south with time today. But if you look at the current radar in our area, it looks like it's snowing everywhere. But as expected, the dry air is making all this dry up on the way down. But what this Virga is doing is it's saturating things. It's moistening things up. It's kind of priming things to get the snow down to the ground with time this evening and tonight. Visibility is more than 10 miles at every airport with weather observation equipment in the forecast area. You've got to go back to Effingham, Illinois, Flora, Illinois, and Springfield to start to get snow down to the ground. So we'll be watching that line as it lifts northeastward with time today. So snow comes in this evening and tonight. Again, I think after 6 p.m. we're fair game. Remember, the first round will have holes in it. It's got dry air to overcome, but it will begin to produce accumulation. This goes right up to Sunday morning over the area. This is Sunday morning right through Sunday evening. The heaviest snow tomorrow morning right into early afternoon. A stiff northeast and north-northeast wind blowing. Then the snow pulls away, right? But I want you to notice right here, from here all the way down to Rockville, this corridor, this is a lake effect band on the back side. But also, winds are north-northeast and northeast here. They will turn to the northwest in Illinois. So we have a convergence zone, an area of lower pressure, a trough, if you will. And you see these situations in big winter storms and also nor'easters sometimes. It's a northern trough, and you'll get a little brief band of snow in an arc on the backside of a storm. However, this one will have lake snow working in tandem with it. So you'll have a little final band of snow that comes through. That is why I put some higher totals in parts of Jasper and Newton County and parts of Pulaski and Benton County. I'll show you that in a sec. Snowfall by midnight. So let's track this. So by midnight, you may not have anything yet at Roselawn, DeMont, Beaver Lake area, north of Winnemac. Now you may have 1/10 of an inch from Morocco and Brook and Rensselaer to Rochester. You may have 1/3 of an inch, Logansport, Peru to Monticello, north of Fowler. Pushing 1/2 an inch of snow from Tipton to Rossville, parts of Greater Lafayette to Pine Village. You may have 6/10 of an inch of snow, Lebanon over to Crawfordsville, Linden, Romney, and Covington. The inch line will likely be way down south towards Clinton, the Billy Creek Village area, south of Rockville. Now we look to tomorrow morning at 8. So by that time, we may have 1/3 or 4/10 of an inch of snow on the ground in northern Newton, northern Jasper County, 6/10 Rensselaer, about the same Winnemac, Rochester, 7/10 of an inch of snow. The inch line may be Peru, Logansport, Delphi, maybe Monticello, Brookston, Chalmers, and then back to about Oxford and Boswell. 1.3 Greater Lafayette, about an inch here at Pine Village, about 1.5 inches at Covington, 1.5 inches at Frankfort and Tipton, Kokomo about 1 inch. The 2-inch line should line up south of Cayuga, about Rockville, Waveland, and then up to just south of Lebanon, around Advance in Jamestown. Then we look to noon Sunday. So we're going to add quite a bit between that 8 a.m. and noon time frame, because we may have 1 inch on the ground up here, DeMont, Roselawn area, Beaver Lake. The 1.5 inch amounts may be Brook, Rensselaer, Winnemac. 2-inch line, Rochester, Monon, Remington, back to about Earl Park and Freeland Park. The 2.5 inch line, Denver, Mexico, just north of Logansport, Monticello, back to just south of Fowler. And then the 3-inch line should be pretty close to Delphi, Galveston, a little more than 3 inches at Lafayette, about 3 inches around Rainsville and West Lebanon. And then as you go southward, the amounts pick up. So you're looking at 4.5, Kokomo, Frankfort, Linden area, back to Veedersburg, and then towards Rockville, we may have 5 inches on the ground at noon Sunday in that area. And Lebanon, too, we may have pushing 5 inches of snow at that point. Final totals by early Monday morning, Interstate 64 corridor in southern Indiana will likely have more than a foot, like 12 to 18 inches of snow. I think this is why the National Guard's being called out, because in 2004, we had more than a foot of snow along Interstate 64 with similar winds, and we had so many cars stranded on Interstate 64, the National Guard had to be called out. So I think when you hear that headline, National Guard being called out, you're thinking up here in Lafayette or Rensselaer or Covington, you're like, oh, are we getting a whole lot more? This is really for the southern part of the state. along this I-64 corridor that's really going to get hammered hard with the heaviest snowfall. And then the amounts lessen as you go northward. So final totals, 3 to 6 over a lot of the area. If we're going to get a little more than 6, it's going to be Rockville and south, New Ross, Ladoga and south, Advance, Jamestown, Zionsville, and southward, sort of thing. But 3 to 6 Fowler, Kokomo, Romney, Attica, Monon. I went 3 to 6 for this corridor from Rensselaer to DeMotte and Remington and Kentland because of that little band that comes through Sunday evening, Sunday night. And then 1.5 to 3 north of Winnemac, 1.5 to 3 Lake Village, Enos, Beaver Lake area as well. And remember the dry, powdery, too fluffy nature of the snow. It won't take much to blow it around. You get gusts 28, 29, 30, it's going to blow around quite a bit. And we can see that with the wind. Now these are winds in knots, and we're looking at tonight through Sunday evening, and you'll notice the winds, the gusts 20, 25, 28, 29 knots. That's, 27, 30, 33 miles an hour sort of thing with these gusts coming through. Some of the data has the highest gusts actually coming through late Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, when a lot of the area will be like 33 miles an hour. Regardless, the wind will have an impact. They're not gusts 40 to 50, but it is still enough to blow the snow around and drift it about. Then we watch the wind crank up again. So Monday will have a few flakes around, still some blowing and drifting snow. The problem Tuesday is that the wind really kicks up from the southwest. So any snow is going to blow around. We may have gusts more than 30. And then we get a weak clipper Wednesday with a few snow showers. The bigger clipper, I think, is Wednesday night, Thursday morning. That could put down some minor or very minor accumulation for the area, but it cranks the wind up. Now it warms up briefly, and then the Arctic air really comes in the end of next week and next weekend. And we've got to watch, well, several things for sure. For sure, we're getting this massive Arctic high here and brutally cold weather. For sure, we're going to have a clipper up here dropping southeastward. For sure, we're going to have some sort of system near the Gulf Coast. So what is not for sure? What do we not know? Well, we don't know whether the two are going to phase, and even if they do phase, we don't know the track. This model has them phase in here, and then a significant snow event happening over the south with snow to the northern Gulf of Mexico, and then we develop a nor'easter that may near bomb and produce a blizzard on the northeast U.S. and the mid-Atlantic. That is in question, though. We don't know yet. As I said, there are some things we do know. There's some things we don't know. Now, if this phases, it's possible that this could be up here. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. If rather than it snowing a lot in Birmingham and Atlanta, it may be snowing a lot in Louisville, Indy, and Lafayette, and Fort Wayne. Just something to watch coming up next weekend. With first main blast of cold air, we've gotten a taste of that. We had it yesterday, this morning. We're having it this weekend. Another little push of cold Monday. Then the second wave of brutal cold comes in. It's longer lasting. It's stronger. It's going to hang on a little longer. The thing is, once we get past about the 4th or 5th of February, things just change. The colder roads, watch the oranges and reds really show up. We're just bathed in mild air. I mean, this is really mild in mid-February. Temperature is quite a bit above normal, and it's not going to snow, it's going to rain. But there'll be a period when we're getting melting of ice jams on area creeks and streams around. But don't get used to the warmer weather, because another shot of really cold air is coming late February to very early March. We're going to open the door again, brutally cold air coming in for that time of year. Temperatures way below normal. It looks like that polar vortex, like it's doing now, it's loosening up. I mean, with this cold we're getting now, we had a wind chill of 63 below zero in northern Minnesota. What was that? Yesterday morning? And a temperature of 38 below. and nearly the entire state of Minnesota was less than 20 below zero. A lot of places less than 30 below zero. That's polar vortex kind of cold. And another piece of that is coming, and yet another piece of that is coming late February to very early March. And I think we're going to get snow out of it because the cold's there. And look at this, above normal precipitation. So late season snow, but also ice risk will be up for our area late February, very late February, and into early March. That could be a period of active winter weather, as this is really, even though we've had the cold and the snow interspersed with bursts of very warm weather here, the duration of this winter is more typical of an Indiana winter. You know, it started in November. We're still going to have a lot of cold into early March. And then you can see the extent of the snowpack, very late February to early March. It's putting quite a bit down here, more than 5 inches area-wide. So we melt off everything in February, mid-February, and then we're going to put another blanket of snow down late in the month. So all that said, we're down to 9 tonight. We got the snow coming in. Fair game after 6 p.m. for it to start to overspread our southwestern counties. There's that wind tomorrow, gusts 26 to 32 from the north-northeast. Temperatures low teens. This is what's interesting though. You'll note I've got a high of 19 at Wheatfield, 14 at Frankfort and Tipton. 18 Morocco, but only 14 at Cayuga. In the evening when that little band comes through, remember the wind will be coming off the lake. The water is a little warmer than the actual air. So we are going to actually warm it up a little with that band. So I think we'll hit a late evening high in Greater Lafayette of 15 actually, as that, you know, the main system snow pulls away, but you've got that little lake effect and northern trough kind of thing that will come through. Regardless, wind chills 10 below 0 to 5 below in the morning, and then they're 5 below 0 to 4 in the afternoon. 9 then falling on Monday, wind chills way below 0. 6 below 0 then rising Monday night, 23 on Tuesday. We get some scattered snow showers on Wednesday, windy, 20, but then falling to the low teens and single digits in the afternoon. Thursday, morning snow, maybe some accumulation, 15. It's possible that that number may fall in the afternoon. 9 Friday, 4 below 0 in the morning, 6 below Saturday morning, 15, and then we watch whatever is phasing south of our area, or perhaps just a clipper coming through, and then brutally cold weather. Look at that, lows in the teens below 0, high single digits in teens before we warm up, but it's going to take until around and after February 4th and 5th to thaw things out.